Hello. So I wanted to talk today about this article from my friend James Stuber. And he wrote an article some time ago about daily time management with Todoist and Google Calendar. And he walks through how he does a daily planning system with his to-do list, which he does in Todoist, and his calendar, which he keeps in Google Calendar, like most of us. And I thought this article was really valuable and a great addition to a lot of the materials that are out there about getting things done, and GTD and the Building a Second Brain course that both of us have taken. But I wanted to kind of adapt his blog post to my workflow and show how I do that, because I use slightly different tools and it looks a little different, and I thought people might be interested in seeing that. So I also have a task management system. I also have a calendar. I do keep my calendar in Google Calendar, but unlike James, I access it in a different way, and I have a different task management software. In particular, as you may know, I use Emacs and org mode to keep track of my tasks, and then I also have a plugin, org gcal, that fetches my Google Calendar information, and it can also write calendar information, although I don't use it for that a lot or ever. Mostly just use it to read my calendar, and then I plan my day around that with my tasks. So that's interesting because unlike James's workflow, there's not a separate tool for the task management and the calendar, because the agenda view in org mode can show both tasks and calendar events, even if Google Calendar stores the data for calendars events. So I just wanted to show kind of what that looks like in case you were interested. Whether you're an existing Emacs user that just wants to see how this workflow might look like, or if you are interested in seeing what Emacs and org mode look like for productivity purposes. So I'll go ahead and open my Emacs. This is my tasks file, todo.org, where I keep all of my tasks. As you can see, there are I'm using Para, P-A-R-A, for projects, areas, resources, and archives to track my tasks as recommended by Tiago Forte. And of course, resources and archives are both inactive because you don't store resources as tasks, and then archives are just the paths. And there's also an inbox for new tasks. So each day I will, at the beginning of my day, or when I first get a chance in the day, or really any time I want orientation around what tasks I need to do, I will start a daily review, and I have a key binding that I've created for that creates a new daily review. And so a number of things happen there. You can see at the bottom left that my Google Calendar information was fetched. If the computer is online, I will go and grab the latest calendar information. Then what I'll do is I'll go through these steps and basically cleaning up the room that I'm in, clearing up my downloads and desktop, getting everything in order. I'll look at what's coming up the next couple of days, and then I'll start to process and create new tasks from my email inboxes, from Slack, from Twitter, anything that comes to mind. And I will schedule each of the tasks that come in and refile them into an appropriate project or area. So then once I've done that, I have basically thought of every possible task that has been on my mind, every open loop, and scheduled it for a given day, filed it in a relevant project or area, and then it's time to actually plan my day, which is what James's article is about. So you can see this last step, schedule today's tasks, immersive to process, deep to shallow, this is the step where I do what James is suggesting. And you can also see there's a little bit of Emacs Lisp here that I run every day that just says, open the org agenda and look at it with the view just for today. So I'll open mine for today. This is what my schedule for today looked like. You can see there was an entry about making a video about planning your day in Emacs, which I'm doing right now. So what I'm going to do instead is show you what tomorrow looks like so that you can get a sense of what planning the day looks like. So you'll see there's a few things here. At the bottom, there's a whole list of a lot of tasks that I need to do tomorrow that I've had scheduled for tomorrow. And then I also have one meeting. There's actually a number of other things on my schedule, but they're more recurring things that happen every day. So this is the only unusual event that's on my main calendar. That's a meeting from 11 to noon tomorrow morning. What I typically do, I'm going to actually make it the normal size, and hopefully that's visible to you. But even if you can't read the exact text, you'll kind of get a sense of what I'm talking about and what I do. So let's just see how many lines of tasks are there here. Looks like there's 13 lines there. So of course, tasks vary in size. Some are going to be very simple, take less than 2 or 5 minutes, and some are going to take longer, like an hour. This first one, review and update return prerequisite tree, I know that's going to take me about 5 minutes. But some of them will take longer. And so I've found that on average, I just have a sense, this isn't, actual statistical measurement, but from having done this process every day for quite a while, or most days, I have a sense that I can do about 10 tasks in a day, maybe give or take a few, but 10 is a good number. So since I saw that I had 13, and I could see this visually as well, I can see I'm probably not going to get to all of those tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is, just like James talks about, I'm going to go through each task and kind of check in. Do I still want to do this? And when do I want to do it? So I'm just going to go one by one and kind of walk through what that looks like. Again, this white line is a calendar event. That's why it's in my gcal file, gcal.org. And then the rest of these are in my todo.org file. So those are just normal tasks. And I'm basically going to move each of these so that they're scheduled with a specific time. So these have a day, which is 17 July 2018. That's tomorrow. But I'm going to give them a time of day as well. And sorry for those of you that don't use military time, but I've got military time on here. So review and update return prerequisite tree. I think I'll do that pretty early in the morning, maybe at 9 o'clock. And the first thing to note is that's coming up for this is when I do this, I'm not actually planning to do it at a specific time. So that meeting that I have at 11 is a commitment. I will do that at 11 unless I agree otherwise with the person that I'm meeting with. It's like a lunch date or going to coffee with someone. It's a commitment, an external commitment. So, but with scheduling these tasks, it's more like a rough plan. Like I think I want to do that in the morning. So when I say I want to do it at 9 o'clock, it doesn't mean necessarily that I want to do it exactly at 9, but that I want to do it in the early morning. List questions and conversation topics for each host. I have a sense that I might not have to do that tomorrow if need be. So I think I'm actually going to schedule it for later in the week. So I've just hit the keybind to reschedule it to a different date, and I'm going to schedule it to the 19th, which is Thursday, which is I think the latest that I can do that. Reply to K, I actually already did that. So I'm just going to delete that line. Contact people to ask about mailing list. I also noticed that that's really important. I don't always use priorities, but I'm going to give that a priority and say, okay, that's going to take a chunk. I'm going to do that at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Also just refresh the view so you can see that moved up to 10 o'clock. Order squirt mops and air purifier. I think I'll do that in the afternoon at 15 o'clock. That should be pretty quick, and I think I'll do that before the prerequisite tree. So I'll move that up to 8:50. This is actually the meeting that I have, and this task was created before I had scheduled that meeting. So I'm just going to delete that. Type initial poem drafts. I will also do that in the afternoon. With the afternoon tasks, those are ones that I'm going to do that are kind of less important and pretty simple, so that if I don't have much energy in the afternoon, I can kind of pick and choose or decide what I need to do. Email S&A, that's also needs to be in the afternoon because that's when I won't be at work. Then that's a free time thing. Check engine oil and coolant, I'm actually also going to move that to Thursday. Reply to KS. I think that's a really easy task that I'm going to get done in the morning, and I'm going to do it before I do the more intensive things. So I'll schedule that for before this 10 o'clock task. So the 10 o'clock task is one that's really important, and that's going to take a bit of time because I have to make phone calls for that. Lastly, let's see, researching possible locations for stage 2 and stage 3. I'm actually going to move that to a maybe and remove it entirely from the day. So refresh that. So I'm not going to do that tomorrow because that can wait. And set up Salesforce account. That's a waiting task. It's not something I might do tomorrow because I need someone else to help me. But I think that it might happen tomorrow, so I'm just going to keep that on the agenda as an unscheduled time so that I know that that's coming up tomorrow. So now I've got a rough plan after about 5 or 10 minutes of, okay, I'm going to do some tasks in the morning, then I'm going to have this meeting, and then I'm going to have a second batch of things in the afternoon that I'll do. And that's often how it goes, that there'll be 2 or 3 big sections of the day that I'll schedule, and those will be interspersed with various meetings like there is tomorrow. And then when I actually go about my day tomorrow, I'm going to go through this process again as I go about the day. I may or may not actually change the metadata in Emacs to say move this later into the day, but I'll certainly be doing it in my mind if I don't get to doing that in the metadata. And if for some reason these tasks aren't completed, then they'll show up in the next day so that I know that I'll have to reschedule them anyway. So by doing this process every day, I think the main goal is I have a more realistic and actionable plan of how I want to spend my days and how I'll complete the tasks that are a part of the projects and areas that are part of my life right now. And I really like doing this in Emacs and org mode for a variety of reasons, but in particular, the fact that the calendar information is right next to the tasks is something that I find really valuable because it makes this process a lot smoother. So yep, that's how I schedule my tasks and plan my day with Emacs, org mode, and Google Calendar. Thanks to James for his original article for showing me this workflow, and hope this helps anyone that might want to adapt it to Emacs or org mode, or just get a sense of what doing GTD and Emacs and org mode looks like. Okay, enjoy.